Well, silly Kelly. There's no making of yet until you're the end of Act 2. Yeah, there's not much to say about making of on this one. It's a little disjointed in the first chapter, and then it has a theme in the second chapter of this story. Because it's building to a two-part, kind of a two-part finale, kind of. It's kind of going all over the place. But there's a theme going on. They're looking to the giant, pulling the giant stuff and ringing the biblical stuff and all that together to form a cohesive third act. And, that will lead into the next three acts, which is the last the Fate Protects Fools Part TOO. This is the other one. So this is a little bit of making of on this one. There's not much really to add to it, so I didn't need to do it. It's sort of like when we did the finale of the Trans Tech thing, the All Transformers Mush thing, and we're like, there's not much to add to the final act, because you kind of have, you know where they're going, you know where they're headed. You don't want to give away too much, and you want to see how it works out, so you just go there. The random changes and whatnot that are happening, like an ADD person wrote it, but it's actually different acts of the Colavito blog. I understand that this one is the expansion of the Planet of the Fallen Ones, yes, but the this is from the Ancient Aliens Reviews blog 2018. The Ancient Aliens blog reviews 2018. The other one's 2019, 2020, kind of together. They didn't have much of that during the Trump years, so there was mostly other stuff. So we have it's sort of a compendium. The whole 7 episodes has been a compendium to the Aldani parts 1 and part 2, which have elements of this too. And it seems like it's like repeating some of those elements, and it isn't. It's just that they discussed them in the same place. And we set this story in 3190, so it was like years later after all this other stuff. And they're on that weird planet from the Fallen Ones that is giving them information through their Matryoshka brain. There's a computer brain thing. It's telling them what to say. They're puppets on some kind of Star Trek that they threw in their gag line. So that's what's going on. And that's why they're behaving how they are. Whether they're... the prize hunter has left in the previous episode to go back to their time. There's a way that they can get back to. They didn't address it in this episode because it's not in the script to address it. And you figure that each episode is during the course of a different day. You figure, if people are conversing and trapped on the planet or whatever, doing a Survivor kind of thing, it's been different days, they're not necessarily going to discuss the previous episode. They're just going to discuss elements of the previous episode. So they're not all connected. So it does make sense. So it isn't a plot hole. It's just that they've gone on to other things, and we're catching up to them each day and going, okay, this is near the middle of this other day, and this is what they're talking about here. So this thing is like causing them to probably converse for hours about stuff, but we're only seeing like a short snippet of what they discussed, which is why it seems haphazard and random, because you figure they're the whole time. They're going on and on the whole time, which is probably exhausting for them. Yes, so easily the next act tomorrow, and then we'll go on to do the rest of the. Hopefully, we get the 2 acts done by Thursday when they finish this. But yeah, that'd be cool to have the 2 acts in the can before that. We'll see. So that's it for the evening. This is Saturday evening. About a week after the end of the last one. So anyway, I don't need to add anything else. There's no need to go into... I saw the Batman movie, because I could mention that. Yeah, it was cool. But I want to go on, and I don't want to add anything extra and put anything extra in there. This is about ancient aliens and giants and vlogs, and you notice that the characters, as they go on, they begin to accept the Christ allegory savior stuff in it. Even the bad guys kind of accept it a little bit. So it's not that they were atheists in the beginning of the story and got converted. It's the alien thing is like affecting them. Yeah, and also they mentioned the shared hallucination thing in the story. Actually, you can have a shared hallucination. A cult leader can create a shared hallucination. Yes. An intense event can create a shared hallucination. So yes, it is possible. So say like a bunch of cultists go to an event where they see the guru doing some kind of miracle, or a fake miracle. They all believe that he actually did the miracle. He or she did the miracle. They all believe it. They all hallucinated that he did something cool, like levitated or whatever. It was all a trick. It's a sleight of hand. It was a trick. It was an illusion in reverse. It was where it wasn't the guru saying we're totally going to do a magic trick. It was the guru saying we're going to try to steal the election. That's different. See? That and as an example, that's a shared hallucination. Also, the Transformers have computer brains, and in that version of a shared hallucination, and the Carta rewrite thing from last season, their shared hallucination, because they're robots, they probably have some kind of radio talking to each other in their heads. So the radio is basically telling them, this is what's happening. You have to do these certain things, and then the task will be done, because that would be to them a shared hallucination. They'd be getting signals. A human brain doesn't have psychic powers, so if anybody's going to do that, it's going to be propaganda and sleight of hand and trickery that would do that. And people who are susceptible to that would be susceptible to that. They would accept it the evangelical like mega church guy who says, "Oh, give me your thousands of dollars so that I can do this crazy healing thing and heal somebody," and it's obviously staged, but everyone believes that it was real because you're really healed. Turns out, no, they made it up. They faked it. The person was never sick or whatever. Just faked it. So yeah, stuff like that too. That's what works. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes it doesn't work when they say like if you're not buying the story, then it doesn't work. Convincing. Geraldo convincing years ago a bunch of people to watch 90 minutes of him opening a Capone safe, which is relevant to the story, only to discover that there was a beer bottle and some dirt. Like the part that I ad-libbed in here where he's all, the puppet master's controlling the puppets and everything, and he goes, it's like we're action figures on some kind of Star Trek. It's like that needed to be in there. It's like, we're action figures on Star Trek. It's a puppet master. There's a similar joke in the Transformer thing too, but why not use a good joke over again? Well, it works. As long as Rise of the Beasts at one point visits Ciudad de Fuego from All Transformers March Season 2, and at one point it's on fire, and have Optimus Prime say, well, Ciudad de Fuego, it's on fire. Yeah. As long as that happens in the story, I'll be like, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's on fire again. Oh, shit. Real brief making of behind the scenes. There's not much making of with this is the finale, the penultimate before the finale. Not much making of. We could either put the making of for this one and the other together, because there really isn't much at all. The two are filmed back to back, literally, and in 10 days. So this is the 6th day of the other one. So the other one's next. That's all there is. There's very little extra to mention. It's all pretty much clean recording and edited thing to go together. So it's more ancient aliens and ancient gods and stuff like that. You see how they do kind of a turnaround, and some of them realize that they're doing their work of their deity and whatnot in wherever they are. So it's a classic God versus man, God versus nature story, Star Trek story. There is a countdown, but it's not the kind like in Discovery. Star Trek Discovery where they claim like there's hours left to get to the edge of the galaxy and back, which is ridiculous. Okay, guys, no, there's just, yeah. You've been cribbing from the Calicat people for years and others. Why don't you just hire people like us or hire us, and we will write a good Star Trek Discovery season. We'll fix it. I'm sure we can fix it. Let us do it. That's not gonna happen. But but yeah. So we did complete the 52 pages of this script. That was a little shorter than the other one. But it's still an hour when you put it all together. So yeah, there's nothing extra. They're talking about ancient aliens. Some of it seems to dance around the Atlantis thing a little bit. That's still in there, leading into the next story. Yeah. As for Plato's Atlantis, they've gone on the shows about that plenty of times. As for the other stuff, the ancient giants and all that, the excavations that they seem to want to do at the end of the story, would seem to be like, wait a minute, weren't they talking about not doing excavations? But I guess in this case, it would be excavating stuff that clearly is not a grave. That's what it is. Clearly, they decided that was a bad thing. So, yeah. And I threw in the ad lib of them addressing the alien, saying, "Oh, we have to fix the thing. We have to worry about the guy that took off yesterday in the story. Where'd he go? Oh no! So we have to keep talking, but we have to worry about this guy." And then they threw in a gag about the Red Letter Media not doing the Milpitas Monster, refusing to do it. They've been told several times about it. They don't want to do it. I just put that gag in there. Because they are ancient aliens people, and there are horror fans and movie fans. It's a silly little thing at the end that has no meaning to the later stories. But he is a giant, so maybe it does. 50-foot tall flyman. He's a giant. Yeah. So. Also, Robotech is supposed to have giants in it. Yeah, but there's a try to. But yeah, so that's, it's not much to talk about. So let's keep it short and not talk about it. Nothing extra to add. So it's over. So did Act 1, the penultimate, and next on is the finale. He didn't really do that. Yeah. Or a politician might do a thing and say like he's going to do this or that. And if he says something enough, they'll believe it. That the Mein Kampf that was referenced in there, the Adolf Schicklgruber, Hitler, a Nazi bad guy in the 40s, wrote a book in which he said if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. And such is the case with the previous presidential administration saying over and over again, we're going to say the election was rigged. And it wasn't. He lost fair and square. But if they say it enough times, maybe people will believe it. Or let's talk about Ukraine and say that enough times, people will believe it, and then they'll go in Ukraine, which they did. Which they did the other thing too. So yeah, it's like they totally. That's what's shared hallucination. Those even relatives that were at the Capitol riot thing believed that it wasn't a riot because he told them it wasn't. That's a shared hallucination. They were convinced through propaganda that they weren't seeing something that they were actually seeing. In this case, reversed from what they were seeing. There was a riot. So they weren't seeing what they're seeing. And then that this shared hallucination, there's a mirror test. You stare at the mirror long enough and see stuff. Everybody saw stuff staring at the mirror in the Guru and the Jung Swan Academy, and we all saw something that wasn't actually there. So it was a shared hallucination right there. Because the suggestion to see something. You're going to see something. You're going to see it. Yeah. And you'll see it. You'll see something. You'll see it. Even if it wasn't there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course, street musicians that are annoyed at me because I see details that He's putting the sleight of hand thing going on. I could tell that the guy just slipped something in his sleeve or in their finger, or hid something behind their ear or something. It's like, wait a second, I can tell what you just did. Yeah, a little bit. I don't like that. But yes, it's not magic. Or something like that. Or I mentioned earlier when the Copperfield and the disappearing into the wall of China. Everybody's convinced he did it. He didn't. You watch the footage and it's like he put up a sheet, put a lamp behind the sheet, and showed his shadow going behind the lamp. That is not disappearing into the wall of China. They could have done a fake of that way better than that by finding a hole in the wall and putting the sheet up, and then pulling the sheet away and saying, "Oh look, he disappeared into the wall." You just didn't see the hole that he disappeared into. That would have been way cooler. They didn't think of that. It's like there's got to be a hole somewhere. Like there's got to be like a passage or something. Yeah, they should have. But it looked fake because I'm going to put this sheet behind the lamp and I'm going to step behind it. See, you can't see me. It's my shadow. It's like, come on. That's really cheap. Anyway, so yeah. It's magic. It's magic time. It's magic time. Not really. Not really. Anyway, so yeah.